Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Heal the Healer Mami Goddaughter Conversations.
Lafia, welcome in. Welcome to another amazing Heal the Healer Mommy Goddaughter edition. If you've been here for a while, then you know that we are going to start by giving our honor and respect to all those who came before us and those who give us the authority to be in this space. And so I want to begin with giving great gratitude and respect to our home temples in Benin and all of the temple keepers who have protected and stewarded and passed on this great divine ancestral wisdom. I want to give great honor and respect and gratitude to our great matriarch, Queen Mother Manon Aye Bujitao Animaso II, who is the global founder and leader of Nazi Fall Spiritual Institute. And I also want to acknowledge and give gratitude to our temple here in the States, Nazi Fall Spiritual Institute of North America, and the founder and leader and my spiritual mother, Miyanu Ananasi. I also want to greet all of your ancestors and the energies that are guiding and protecting you on your path. And I want to acknowledge my own ancestors and the energies that are with me, helping me and supporting me. So it's beautiful to be here with you all on this Sunday. It's very foggy here in San Diego, which I always find really comforting. It reminds me of my childhood home. It feels kind of like a blanket, very cozy Sunday. So I'm really excited for this discussion. I have not heard it yet. I know I should have, but I have not. So I'm excited. I did read the blurb, and just like it being about how knowledge isn't going to be enough. Like you need more than just your smarts to be able to make it. I'm excited to see what Mianu has in store for us in this episode because she's always dropping gems. So, Agbasi, do you have it all queued up?
Welcome to the Divine Feminine Podcast, where I am your host, Priestess Haneera Abunu. Here I support women in learning and applying the divine feminine principles into their lives. We talk about lifestyle, family, culture, and spirituality, all from a traditional African perspective. Welcome to the safe space. Alafia family, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. Come on in. It's the Divine Feminine Podcast. This is episode 70. How you guys feeling? You right? You guys get the full divination on Patreon? You guys been looking? It seems like as soon as the divination for 2026 came out, what happened? I don't know about you. I got report after report after report of all the food that's contaminated, human parts found in chicken nuggets. What? Contaminated this, contaminated that. I swear, if you are not growing your own food, shame on you at this point. Right? If you are not reducing your meat consumption to eliminating your meat consumption, if you are not rehydrating yourself and giving your liver, your stomach, your spleen, your blood system, your everything a rest, if you aren't fasting,
Seems like we're having a bit of technical difficulties, but We'll get that figured out in just a second. But on that note, if you do need a blood cleanser, we have Casa Gra. Um, we have it both in the pure bark form and we also have it in powder form. So if you guys are looking for a good cleanse, you can go on the website divinefeminine.net to be able to grab that, which is really great, especially with this winter season upon us and sickness. So here we go. We're jumping back in.
I'm begging on their behalf. I mean, come on. On behalf of your ancestors, I stand as an intermediary speaking for them. Please clean your blood. If nothing else, clean your blood. I mean, to whatever your capacity is, right? Yes, buy herbs. But if you can't afford herbs, fast, drink water. Refrain from clogging your arteries. Stop smoking. Ouch. I feel like I stepped on a lot of toes right there. Put the vape down, please. Put the vape down. I mean, you know what? I'm stop because, you know, when I get on tangents like this, y'all don't like me. Even though I say I'm not here to be your friend, I'm here to make sure you grow. I'm here to push you into righteousness. It's not comfortable. If you're comfortable and complacent and stagnant, man, that's not what this is about. You're not moving forward. You're not evolving. You're not moving forward. You're not evolving. Y'all gonna make me say it 3 times like Dr. Umar. You're not moving forward. You're not evolving. Shout out to Dr. Umar. Okay? But seriously, have you guys been digesting the divination small, little bit by little bit, seeing what can I do in my life to make this applicable, to make this real, to make this tangible? How do I align? And I know many of you have different scholars, different priests that you listen to, as you should. And me as one of them, as one of your advisors, how do you take the information that you were given and you apply it? Because here's the danger. Here's the danger. And you have to make sure that this doesn't become you, that this isn't the type of person that you become. You have to make sure that you check yourself. And we all have to check ourselves because we all have colonization, modernization, westernization in our blood, in our minds. And so as we go on this journey, we always have to check ourselves. And what you have to check yourself about is like, am I applying the knowledge? Am I taking actionable steps towards change with the knowledge I received? Or am I just listening to it, creating conversation or meditations around it, but never change? Y'all like that?
That was a good little first segment that we had there. What was coming up for you as you were hearing what Miana was saying?
I'll go. Uh, I know that what came up for me when I was listening to it, because I listened to the podcast on one of my walks Wednesday, Wednesday morning. Yes. And so when she asked that question, I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, am I? Or am I just like soaking up um, knowledge and not using it. Because I know that, like, in church, they used to call that being like spiritually fat or spiritually obese, to where you're soaking up and you're learning and you're gaining and consuming all of this information about about spiritual. I'll say spiritual. They didn't say that at church, but but like you're gaining all of this information, but then you aren't using it or putting it to use, which is like what happens when we overconsume with food, but then we're not actually engaging ourselves in enough activity to be able to use it. And so then instead of it being something um, that is like blessing you and blessing your life, it turns into like this burden. And you're carrying around extra weight. And then it's like all these health problems that come along with that. And so it really made me ask myself, I definitely feel like there is, well, I guess there's always going to be room for like improvement and more application. Um, but I did like, do a little assessment and I was like, okay, I can see areas in which I have been applying what I have been learning for the past, especially the past, I can't believe it's going to almost be like 2 years since Mianu has come into my life. But even like the things that I was learning before that, I can see different areas where I have applied things and things that I used to do mostly because I didn't know any other way. Now that I know better, I am doing better. And then there's other areas that's like, okay, Lenitra, you know better. You're not doing better there, but that's an opportunity. So that is where I am right now. Lafia, Lafia, Lafia.
I go. Yeah, I think it's really important that you look at everything that you're doing and you're saying, okay, there's some places where and there's some places where I can improve. And I think that's the honest outlook because I think all of us are that way, right? Everyone is that way. There is no one that can say, I'm applying everything. I don't have anything to change. I'm just perfect, you know? So I would agree with that. When I heard that, it's like you're looking at your life and you're like, okay, well, I've grown so much. And, I've changed my mentality, so much based on the knowledge that I have or that I've acquired. But there's still these checks and balances that you have to do with the fact that, yeah, you were, brought up in a different culture that, Western, like colonization, Westernization, modernization, like these things are still very much ingrained in who you are. And although you're using this knowledge that you maybe newly learned 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, still is not your lifetime. And so there's always things that you're going to have to really check, like, am I applying this knowledge? Um, so that's where I am too. It just made me do like a little quick inventory. Like, all right, I'm doing these things, but I still am eating too much sugar and coffee, and I'm not growing my own food, or like, am I, I tend to learn by osmosis. I tend to apply things and just soak it all in and then it just shoots all out. But that can't be for everything, like I have areas where it's like, well, that didn't soak in enough. I'm not doing this by osmosis. I actually have to do this on purpose. And it's those areas that I'm like, okay, I need to formulate a plan because this, walking and talking at the same time may work for some of the easier things for me, not for everyone, but for me. But these other aspects of my life where it's like, oh, I'm too busy to meditate. or just certain things. Like, am I preparing myself for what is to come, or am I just saying I know it, and when it comes, then I'll apply it? And I don't want to be that way. It'd be too late, you know. A lot.
I'll go. Yeah, this is a very like timely message. It's something that I had noticed with myself, how much I like to consume knowledge. Um, but it was really honestly just like a healthier form of distraction. And so I've been working on applying it, and I think that's why this past week has gone so well. But there's still so much more that like I can be applying. Um, and I think in the past I would feel really overwhelmed with like how much I needed to do or how much I needed to change, and like looking at where I'm at and thinking it's so far from like where I'm trying to go. But one of the things my grandmother would always say is, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. And so just taking like whatever knowledge nugget is applicable right in that moment and applying it. And just as you make these small changes, it builds and it builds and it builds. Um, and also just like offering more grace to myself. Like, yes, there comes a point where you have to like push yourself or like get yourself to do things, but also when I'm not able to fully get there, instead of completely like downing myself, be like, okay, this is what we're going to try next time. Like making it like doing some like making an actionable shift. Like, yeah, that sucked. You didn't do your best or you forgot to do this, but what can you do next time? Has been really, really helpful. Alafia, Alafia, Alafia.
Am I digesting past meditation into action, right? And do I go past just meditation and thinking about the knowledge given, the wisdom given, the foresight given in the divination? Or am I just stagnant? Which are you? The step you should be doing as a spiritual person, as an honest seeker of nature's principles and traditions, is putting it into action in.
Just one second.
Yeah. Takes it out of the entertainment phase. You got to do that. It's serious. You got to do that. It's serious. You cannot just listen to priests, divination, words of power, ancestral wisdom, elders. You can't just listen, ponder, meditate, and don't put action. I mean, seriously. Listen. We have the elements. Okay, elements in creation, elements in existence. There's 4, 5 if you want to include spirit. You understand me? And in order to manifest, you must have all. And so that action, that movement, that change in behavior, that implementation into the physical, that's your earth. It's necessary. It's necessary to move forward. You can't eliminate that. You can't eliminate that. You can't avoid it. You can't overcome it. You know, it's necessary. We can't just sit on our yoga mats and just, meditate and don't do no work, no action. You got to do something. You got to move yourself towards the goal. So when you get spiritual truths like that, you have to beware. You have to meditate and be mindful. And you also have to think, how do I change my life? Okay? Some of you think the way you do that is just run out and get a bunch of offerings done to cover you for the year, which is true. You could do that too. That's energy. Okay? I'll gladly take your money and do all your offerings for you. Gladly. You too busy? You too lazy? You want a professional to handle it? Just like everything else. I'll do it. Right? You do that with your food, you have meal prep. You do that with your laundry, you have a house cleaner. You do or cleaners. You do it with the housework. You have a cleaner. Okay. No problem. If that is your status and you can afford it, no problem. I will do the work for you. Contact me. But there are things that you can do. Be empowered. Okay? Hey, let's be empowered. Let's do some things ourselves. Right? I get tired of hearing y'all in the community. These initiation rates are too high. The fees that the temple is charging. I can't tell you, why do priests have to defend how much they're charging? And first off, I don't even entertain this conversation. It's rubbish. I don't even entertain this conversation, but I've been seeing on social media, there are so many houses like defending and answering questions with people about the cost of their fees. Are you serious? You are not about to turn this into the marketplace. I will gladly high step over you to the next person, because that right there tells me you're not honest, baby. You're not honest. You're not an honest seeker. And you're not about to sit up here and jip the traditions, because the power you receive is authentic. The power you receive is real. And if you can't put true value and appreciation on it up front, then you're not going to be able to do it on the back end. So you don't deserve it. Just like that. Everything has to be a sacrifice. Okay? Y'all got me on a tangent. Y'all know that I ain't come here to talk about all that, but I will. Because some of y'all need to be set straight. It's not about the cost of the initiation. You don't go around, these people do. They try to treat houses and temples like they looking for new shoes. What's Amazon prices? What's Temu's prices? What's that one where Shein? What's Shein's prices? No, baby, please. You want to do that with spirituality? That's your problem. You cannot take a colonial Western mindset into such a holy and sacred practice. I'm going to stop you right there. I don't want nothing to do with you. You think you choosing me? I'm choosing you. And I'm saying no, thank you. I don't want you as a student. My temple don't want you. We don't want you. Thank you very much. We don't even got to go over prices. We ain't got to no, I don't want you. Because you've done no work on your brain. We are not talking apples to apples here. You're not ready. So when it comes to the divination, I'm trying to get some of y'all ready. Okay. When it comes to the divination for the year, whether you got it from me, the full one on Patreon, even the bits and pieces that you got on the podcast and on my social media, right? At Haneera Abunu, even the bits and pieces that you got online for free. What did you do with it? Those are gems. There's so much that's happening that you need to prepare yourself for. Okay? And your other scholars, Babalawos, right? Mianus, your other who knows out there where you get information from. Even your astrologers. What are you doing with that information? How are you navigating your life differently? Don't sit back like the rest of society, healer. Right? You know who I'm talking to, the healers, right? If you're not a healer, if you're not a holistic practitioner, if you don't have gifts and abilities and you're not in the wellness community, disregard what I'm saying. Okay, because you really don't understand. I can't hold you accountable to levels you're not at. Okay? So this ain't for you. So I just want to be clear because you might even be offended by the things that I'm saying. Okay? But if you have gifts and abilities and you are clairvoyant and you are seeking understanding, knowledge, wisdom of how this universe works, how to use your gifts, maybe you've even started helping others, or people are drawn to you and your wisdom and want to know how did you do this, or you just offer your knowledge and people find it useful. Some people don't know who they are, so I have to say these simple things so it will trigger their mind that, oh, maybe that's me, right? Some of us aren't so bold in our walk to where we know who we are. I know I'm a healer. I know I'm sent here to help. I know I'm chosen. I know I'm a cycle breaker. Like some of us, we don't know that part yet. Okay? We don't know, that the trials, the tribulations, the heartache, the struggles, the trauma that we've been through and survived, made it out of, and healed from was all meant to help someone else. Some
Ooh-wee, the call out. The call out. How was that for y'all?
I go. It's always it's always fun to follow Miano on a tangent. Uh, I think it's important though, and it keeps coming up, and I see it. I do see it. When people are doing spiritual work or getting spiritual work or talking about initiation. Some of them mention like, oh, the price is so high, they're taking advantage. Kind of, I didn't get what I came for. We've had a couple of people on these calls that said that very same thing. And it's true. It's just they don't have the right mindset. I mean, maybe they didn't meet the right people, but they also don't have the right mindset because Miano mentioned it in the podcast that everything is takes sacrifice. And a lot of people think that it's just sacrifice of money. And if we know what money really is, it's a measure of your value. It's a measure of value, right? It's a measure of your energy that you put into something. So you put your energy out in the world, you do a job, you have a gift, you receive money. for that. And that is like your a representation of your energy source. And so for everyone is different, right? Meaning of how much you value that money is different. So let's say, I don't say initiation, but like spiritual work. Spiritual work for you, $100 might be nothing if you're making six figures. That's not valuable. But for somebody who, maybe is living on the streets or doesn't have a house, doesn't have a home, or is entrepreneur, so like every little thing that they do is bringing in money and it's difficult, $100 might be a make or break situation. That's a great sacrifice opposed to $100 somebody making a six figures, right? And so that's why you can't really treat it like the marketplace. You can't say this spiritual work is $100 for everyone because it's a sacrifice, and that $100 might not be the same value for one person than another. Then you have another level of like the access of power that you get for that might not be the same depending on your cosmic makeup, might not be the same for you. You might have the same initiation, but different accesses to power because of your cosmic makeup. How do you put a one-stop shop value on that? You can't. And so it's very important that like people have to change their mind to the more traditional way of thinking when it comes to that, because truly in traditions, it's they're not looking at they don't have a ledger of these prices are for X, Y, and Z. They're reading you. They're understanding your cosmic makeup. They're understanding what is the voodoo. They're understanding what is going to be valuable for you. What is going to be a proper sacrifice for you in order to receive what you're asking for. And it's different for us. And that's the mindset that we have to change. In the West, you just like you say, you go on Temu and that price for that is $19.99 for everyone. It's not like that in spirit. So I'm glad she brought it up. So I feel
I go. So I've never been given a price for like initiation or anything like that because I've never uh I've never sought it out. I just decided that like if that was a part of my path, then that is what would end up happening instead of because I know a lot of people tend to like they come straight out of whatever religion they grew up in and they are immediately looking to initiate into something else and they have not given themselves uh, they haven't given themselves time to be able to like deconstruct and like, is that what you want to do? And how do you know that this is where you should be or align yourself? But it didn't surprise me hearing in the podcast when Yanu was talking about people doing that. It kind of made me think of like how people gladly they don't hesitate to pay whatever the initiation fee is for the fraternity or sorority of their choice. Um, like it's just considered like you already know it's gonna be expensive. You don't know how much it's gonna be until like you get ready to do this thing and they tell you how much it is. I remember when I was in college, this is in 2002, I remember it was $1,700. Now this was 23 years ago, undergrad. I know good and doggone well that it is much more than that now. And if you want to do grad chapter, it's more than that. But every few months, I'm seeing on social media all of these people who are fully grown men, fully grown women, um, where somebody would probably assume that maybe that time of their life or part of their life was past them, but they've decided now they want to do it. And I am very confident in saying that whatever price they were given They paid it because that was what they wanted and they wanted to move forward with the process. I think it's very interesting that when it comes to spirituality, which that is very spiritual in a lot of ways. I don't think people like connect the dots on that. But I do find it interesting how whenever it comes to um, spirituality, there's always like this like wanting to question, and I want like line by line of what this is and what that costs. Like you at the grocery store, you can just look at the receipt to see like how much each individual thing costs that you put on the conveyor belt. And it's not that. You see a lot of people also do that even with organized religion. And one thing that I feel like I always understood and expected when people would be like, they treat it like it's a business. There's a business side to it. There are things that cost money. uh, and when the church needs to pay that light bill, they can't just call the people, call FPL. I'll say FPL because that's the power company where I'm from. But call FPL and see, well, can we pray for y'all? And then that covers it. The people want their money. And so it also is an energy exchange as well. I love the example that you gave, Akbasi, about what is a sacrifice for one person would be nothing to the other person. So then, um, how much is it worth to you? How much are you feeling what you had to exchange in energy for the thing that you're saying that you want? Because if it's going to be an energy exchange, then it has to be even. If not, then what are we really exchanging? I feel like that's what take me down the tangent with working, where you exchange your time for money because time is not a renewable resource. But I digress. Alafia, Alafia, Alafia.
I'll go. Yeah, I think that it comes from another point of like distraction or trying to fill a void, right? And then also not being properly healed. Because a lot of people who leave Christianity are leaving because of church hurt and feeling like violated or like their funds were misused. They always raising money for a new building, and yet rarely is a new church. They never move into the new church, and they've done been in the church family for over 10, 15 years. So, like, I think especially, transferring over, it's like they have all of this hurt and these fears. And, like Mianu said, like maybe like you're not ready yet. And um, there's a lot of shame around that, especially coming from the West, where it's like productivity and education level and all these things are so important. So, uh, um, and that's like a part of your identity. Like there's more identity reconstruction that needs to happen before jumping into an initiation and things like that, and really trying to understand like what your intentions are and why you're being called. Because at the end of the day, if that's part of your destiny, it's going to happen. But the like bum rush forward to make it happen usually ends up with like you're still going to have to deal with all of those feelings and all those lessons that you need to learn at some point. And so I think being able to like sit and really just meditate and digest, like you were saying, Lenitra, like I have always really admired your way of going about your process and just taking your time and really trying to understand and apply those lessons. Um, and like Agbasi was talking about, everybody has a different like spiritual makeup, and different characteristics and different ways of doing things. And so when you do, go on that path and you find out the energies that are with you, it's like, oh, I get why, I handle it this way or that way, or why things unfold. But I think having more awareness and having a better connection to yourself is important. And a lot of people aren't taught that. Like spirituality really is a personal journey and a personal um, like path. And we aren't taught to trust ourselves here in the West. Like even the way our educational system is set up, it's like we sit there and we're given the information, we're supposed to memorize it and regurgitate it. Like it's not about truly learning, right? So then if the question is presented in a different way, people aren't able to answer it because they didn't truly like learn the concept. They just learn the information, the input, output part of it. And traditions, everybody is always learning and truly like understanding. And so then they're able to apply the lessons and to create and be just better rounded people. Um, yeah, I think that's re something really, really important to think about. I love that she brought up all these different topics. Alafia, Alafia, Alafia.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll go. Also, it's just really important to just make another note because, Lisa, you mentioned how people come out of one religion and want to jump right into initiation. And just a second. It's really important to know, like in African spirituality, initiation is not something you just say, like, I want initiation. Let me put that on my schedule. And I don't know who is making it seem that way, but you do hear a lot. Like you hear people say, I want to be initiated. I want to become a priest. I want this. And I think that maybe it's Western, like, if you want to become a doctor, you could just declare, I want to become a doctor and I'm going to go to school and I'm going to, do all the things and I'm going to make this my destiny. But really, your initiation is based on your destiny. Not everyone is called to initiate. And how do you know that if you just come out of one, religion and you haven't done the work, you haven't done the, self, exploration, you haven't grown enough or changed your mind, you haven't gone through whatever rites of passages you need to go through to know who you are and what's actually in your destiny. And I think that's one thing that we have to really, I don't know, just mention that it's not something that you just say, like, I want this. You might have the calling, but you feel it. But to know what initiation you're going to be a part of is really based on your cosmic makeup, what energy is with you, what your destiny is. And not everyone is called to initiation. So it's just a change in mindset. Okay. Let me see. Let me try to go to the next.
People don't know that yet. Okay. So that's why I break it down so simply. Right. But if that's you in any capacity, okay, you have an obligation to refine yourself. Refine yourself, meaning when you receive knowledge, wisdom, power, the way you turn that into power is by changing your life, aligning your life with the wisdom. Okay? And you guys want teachers, you want somebody to show you the way, but you don't prove yourself to be a good student. And let me tell you, no indigenous teacher is going to take you on as a rebellious student. You got to get all that under control. You have to be self-governing already off the rip. You have to have discipline. You have to have discipline in order to be a disciple. Understand me, hear me clearly when I say that. Yeah. All right. And the way you do that is when you receive this information, you self-govern. No one should have to correct you. Nobody should have to correct you. You correct yourself. You guide yourself. And you use these divinations, you use these ancestral wisdoms, you use the astrology, however you get information about how the celestial bodies are moving and what's to come, however that information comes, you use that as a compass. I shouldn't then have to nudge you. I mean, come on now. Because when you don't do that, and this is the point I'm getting at, when you don't have discipline, when you don't put it into action, when you don't change and correct and align with the wisdom, what do? You like everybody else. What's worse is that you have the knowledge and you move like a sheep. You have the knowledge and you use the knowledge as entertainment. Disrespectful embedment. you use the knowledge as entertainment to just be entertained. Disrespectful. You gonna treat the holy Odu Fa like baddies, like Bad Girls Club. What? I don't even watch TV. I can't even call. I know y'all got all kind of reality TV shows out there. You gonna treat it like something on Netflix? Shame on you. Shame on you. Do you understand? If you don't put it into action, you're using it as entertainment. You're using it as a conversation piece. That's not what we do this for. You think I sacrifice my time, my energy to deliver wisdom to you just for you to treat me like a celebrity or a star or no. I don't care about all that. I want to be with my family. I do this so you can learn, so you can grow, so you can use it as a compass to navigate your life. Okay, I'm done. Because we halfway through the podcast and all we done did is talk about you implementing the divination into your life. So I hope you have been. Watch your food. Notice your anger. Okay? Use that energy creatively. Join community. It's important. Because the ancestors are in the blood. We don't want to take it no more. Okay? You should make your food your main priority. If that means you have to join a collective, then do that. If that means you have to move out of the city, then do that. If that means you have to move into a communal space where there's one person who's in charge of the meal prep for everyone, then do that. You have another person who's in charge of feeding the animals, then do that. Do that. Because when you look back at it, I don't want you to get that diagnosis and be like, I should have spoke to Priestess Haneera. I don't want you to get that diagnosis and then say, I should have listened to her. I should have listened to that wisdom. She had been telling me this and I just didn't move. You took it as entertainment. Yeah, you took it as entertainment. But see, here's the thing, beloved. Life is continuing. Life is continuing. And we are in a war. There, I said it. Are you happy? We are in a war. But let me explain to you the war that we're in. For those of you who don't know and it's not clear. Okay? Because some of you may not be clear on who exactly the war is with. Is the war with the government? Is the war with the white man? Is the war with the Jew? Who is the war with? Is the war with the rich? Who is the war with? I'm not here to talk about any of that. That's not really what it is. Understand. The war is against principles, it's against principalities, it's against different sides. It's good and evil. That's who the war is with. Good and evil. And we're in the height of the war right now. Everybody is active on both sides. We both active. That's why there's human food, human body parts in your food, because it's active, having you eat sacrifice. That's why they deny you health care and you have to have your babies in the car on the side of the road.
Oof, it's heavy. It's heavy. Um, what do you what do you feel that you are able to do to really be able to um, embody and do these lessons? Like, not to just be a bystander, not to just be taking this as entertainment.
I'll go. I think the first step is to first recognize that this is not entertainment. I think that we are so accustomed to being mistreated that many of us don't even recognize that the war has already started. We are in denial about the war, and so you can't like start taking seriously or applying knowledge to things that that you're in denial about, or you don't even believe that what's really happening is happening. Um, so yeah, I really think that that's the first step, and I know that for me personally, with the understanding of the fact that the war has already started and shots have already been fired. And in a few instances, we'd already had a man down situation. I feel like for me, it makes it more imperative to act. And acting is going to look different for everybody, but whatever your role is, or whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, I think once you realize that, nah, this has already popped off. It's not we're waiting for it to pop off, or it's going to, the popping has begun. I, at least for me, I can't speak for other people, but I know that for me, that has been one of the main things that have really moved me beyond, oh, I need to leave, to, nah, this is my plan, and by this date, by this year, before we have another election, I need to be out of here. Um, yeah. Alafia, Alafia, Alafia.
I go. I think it's it's good to always keep this in perspective. Or again, it's good to keep that in perspective because in 2026, it's going to be and all of these wars happening, right? And it's like, there are times where it doesn't, seem like you're in war, but you are. And then there are times where it's like war is like the overarching thing, and then there are battles, many battles. And they say like, you lose this battle, but you didn't lose the war, kind of thing. And so in 2026, it's gonna be like the battles. All right, we're in war, but these are the battles, and you're gonna have many, many distractions like politics, government, um, food. Like it's all you. If you break it out to just like one thing, then it's a distraction. But if you see how it fits into the overarching battle against good, and it's something that you're going to have to choose a side, and you're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to be on purpose. And I think this is a lot of, talking about what are the foods that you're eating. Are you implementing the lesson? This knowledge is fortifying you to fight evil. And whether even like within yourself, right? So no matter where you go, like this always be the good and the bad, the light and the dark. That's something that we have to keep in perspective and like look at a lens, at things through a lens. And if you look at the things that, let's say, the US is doing or the Western world is doing, it's like they are working their way to align with one principality, which is the evil side. You can see that. And yeah, it just, it just is interesting about how if you know certain things in spirituality, you can see that more. So even the poisoning of the food, and like you said, the human body parts in food, is not just like a, oh my God, they're so terrible, or oh, they're not paying attention to the food, or they're trying to poison us. It's like it's sacrifice. They're making offerings, making you eat the offering. Okay, like it's embedded in the way of doing things that they are preparing themselves for evil. And you have to then say, okay, how do I prepare myself to be on the side? Whether you're in the US, whether you're in Ghana, whether you're in Russia, whether you're in Costa Rica, this battle is not just to one location, right? You're gonna fight that battle everywhere. So it's really quite interesting. Uh, quite interesting. But yeah, I do think there's a concentration of this battle in the U.S., right? I do think so. But that's just, it's good to keep in a perspective of what's going on. I feel
Peace, everyone. I know I don't talk much, but when I heard eat the sacrifice, ooh, that made my blood just feel so crazy because it's like they're forcing us on their evil side by keeping us dependent on their poison. So I feel like starting with ourselves, you know, just planting our own foods or trying to at least or finding it where we can actually see that where it's growing is important too, because I'm getting nervous about eating some of these things. When she started the podcast and she was just like, if you're not doing that, I was like, wow. So I think that starting with ourselves and, focusing on what we put in our bodies is important too, because if we're sitting there, we're going to be breaking down our bodies. We aren't going to even have a body for a battle. So I think that is one of the important things as well. I feel.
I go. Do you guys think that there is a way, or how have you been able to bridge the gap between just consuming the knowledge and actually um, like embodying it and doing it, right? Because I mean, everything happens in time. If enough time passes, you're going to, get sick and tired of being sick and tired. But with the way and the condition of the world right now, there's not necessarily time, like, the amount of time it's going to take you to be sick and tired of being sick and tired might not be in alignment with when you really need to be spurred into action. And so, for anybody who's on the call right now or might be listening later, what are some of the things that you've done to help yourself to be able to like spur into action? Alafia, Alafia, Alafia.
I go. To be honest, I think I keep getting stuck in this finding all the knowledge and creating a plan, and I haven't really just stepped into putting it into action. That was another thing that I got from this too. Like I need to just I can be in the middle of the plan while the plan is still going on and still planning. But I have started with my food. You know, uh, it was like in March, I stopped eating meat. I still eat fish, but even the other day, I was cleaning the fish, and it's like the fish was just looking at me, and I'm like, this used to be a living, breathing thing. I can't even eat you no more. So it's just like, I think that was one step for myself, at least, is taking a stand towards being more self-governed because I don't first of all I don't even know how to fish for real. So if I had to depend on this to do it myself, I wouldn't even be able to. So I think, I'm starting to learn how to plant more because my mother, she has a green thumb out this world. And I'm starting to do that too. If I see a little root on a garlic, I throw it in some dirt and see if I can take care of it. So I'm trying little things like that. And I think they're baby steps, but there's a fire that's behind me and I'm like, I'm getting ready to I need to start bigger. So that's where I'm kind of at with my action, like trying to put action to it is starting with myself. Because I can't really help anybody else if I don't help myself first. I feel.
I'll go. For me, I just be doing stuff. That has been the most helpful thing is like not get a point. You just do it. Like we think so much and we build it up and we build it up, but it's like when you really just um go for it. Like especially if you've made the list and done the things, it's like you get your body to move before your mind can. And that's helpful. It's like we learn all these, basic laws of physics and things like that, where it's like, an object in motion stays in motion. And that's true. Like it is easier once you do one thing to do another thing. And it's like you start, you just like get that momentum. And also acknowledging the things that I'm doing has been very helpful because of the way our world is set up and social media and all of that. A lot of our dopamine receptors are absolutely fried, like completely fried. And so a lot of times it's like we're looking for pleasure and things like that. And we think that we need to do these self-destructive things to make it happen. We need to, smoke or we need to, eat sugar or things like that. But like you honestly just taking a minute and be like, ooh, I'm proud of you, girl. Look at you. You finally, went through all that mail. Ooh, look at you. You finally did XYZ. It feels good to hear, especially when you know how hard it was or how long it took you to do that. It hits different. A lot of times we want to hear it from outside of ourselves, but it is really important to hear it from ourselves and especially the small things. a lot of times we like to disregard it. But if you're in a low spot or you don't have a lot of resources and the small things are all that you can do, then acknowledging it really pays off. And again, like I said earlier, all those little steps get to be larger and bigger. And so just like acknowledging and really just being present in every single thing that you do has been really helpful for me with like bridging that knowledge to action gap. Alafia, alafia, alafia.
Good and evil. And we can go, maybe that's something I'll talk to you guys about. It's like, what is good and what is evil, right? Do both have equal dominion on this earth? If so, why? Right? Sometimes we got to go back to the basics. Y'all don't understand. Y'all ain't learned that much. Yeah, y'all ain't really got to the deep of it. But for the sake of this conversation, understand.
Just a second, we'll get that back going.
Understand that's what our war is with. And yeah, you can say these groups of people, these groups of individuals with certain ideas are aligning with this side or with that side, with the good side or with the evil side. But you have to decide first off who you're aligning with and then act accordingly. Meaning you identify what side am I on and what are the rules and how do we behave, what do we believe in on that particular side, and then how do we fight on that side, and stick with it. Don't be back and forth, don't be wishy-washy. A traitor to both is, you ain't loyal to nothing. Neither one of us want you. Pick a side and stay on it. Okay? We'll have to go over that because even within us, right, there's constructive and destructive forces. There's good and evil. There's yin and yang, right? There's heteroset, even within us. And so how do you pick a side and stay with it, right? You pick a side and that's the side you focus on. That's how you do it. You pick a side by focusing on that side. Everything you do is through the lens of the side you've chosen. You stay loyal to the side that you've chosen. You identify all your movements and all your behaviors are through the lens and side you've chosen. Okay? So if you know you're in a war and you know there's certain, shall I say, tactics that's been launched against you and you've been given a heads up in the divination, man, you got a roadmap, you got a cheat code. Step over the mines, the bombs in the minefield, right? You don't have to step on the bombs. You don't have to, by the bombs I mean metaphorically, like, food is going to be an issue this year. They're going to target the children this year. Right? There's certain things that Go back and listen to the episode. Go a couple episodes back. and listen to the episode 68. Listen to 68. Go on Patreon and get the divination. There's about two videos on that. Okay, Mami Goddaughter tier, not the free tier. A lot of y'all signing up for the free tier, then you message me and you want to know why you can't find the videos. It ain't the free tier, beloved. You don't follow directions. Okay? So it's the Mami Goddaughter tier. It's $11 a week. Comes out to $44 a month. Simple. Okay? If you're a spiritual person, your resources, your energy, your time should be spent on spirituality. Period. The same way you invest in buying flowers and linen cloth and all of your oils and things like that, you need to specialize and focus on your education and growth as well. $44 ain't much. Get that and stay in touch with the wisdom. Okay? And when you do that, you'll be able to see, okay, this is what Priestess was saying. And listen to it from the mindset that I told you. The war against good and evil. And these are some of the challenges that we're going to face. And this is how you avoid the pitfalls. Look at each situation that I gave you as a roadmap on how to avoid stepping on a bomb, like a landmine, right? That's what that is. It's a way to help you. Mm. All right. So next episode, I'm hoping that we can pick up where we left off in episode 66. Okay? I'm hoping we can pick up episode 66, talking about healing the healer and what you guys need for that. Okay? All right, so for right now, I'm going to let you guys go. This has been another great episode of the Divine Feminine Podcast. Until next time, be well.
That was good. That was really good. There were so many different segments. What was your biggest takeaway? Like, what do you think you're really gonna be chewing on and reflecting on and acting on throughout the week? I love you, love you, love you.
I go. I think the most important thing for me would be to pick a side because um I guess choosing myself that already is a step towards picking the proper side, you know. And the action, I just really have to force myself. Because if I can force myself to wake up to go to a 9 to 5 that I hate, I should be able to wake up and do for me first, you know. So I think that's my biggest takeaway is doing everything to be on the right side, which is good, which is the good side to clarify. Because let me just get that clear. Because I'm tired of their poison. I can't. I think about it all the time because I used to work at the pharmacy. I don't even take medicine. It was the craziest thing. They used to ask me questions, and I'd be like, ask the pharmacist, ask the pharmacist. Because I don't believe in none of that. I'm like, it's not really to help you or anything. And I'm just like, if they can put these liquids into form of a little pill or whatever, and it make your mind want to think that you want to kill yourself, they can spray the same thing on your food. And they don't have to tell you, especially if it's a certain amount. It don't even count as an ingredient anymore. You could call something sugar free and it has sugar in it, but it's not the amount that they say. Like all of that is just madness. So yeah, just to clarify. Alafia. And speaking of more as well, because the other day when people were in the group chat and they were talking about what kind of herbs and stuff would be good for XYZ, I felt so ashamed. I got a whole master's in integrative medicine and a graduate certificate in herbal medicine, but I'm so scared to harm people because herbs are strong, as I've learned. And I'm just like, I'm looking back and I'm like, yeah, that's good, that's good, that's good, instead of speaking up. So that's another thing. I'm going to start trying to speak up more. Thank you.
I go. Yes, girl, please do. You know, when you hold yourself back, you also like hold yourself back from being like loved and being able to be in connection and community. And we need your knowledge. Like right now, everybody's gifts, it's the time to share so that we can be strong and be able to, you know, gather our resources. So please do. And even just putting that in there because I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's herbs, it came from the planet, like it's fine. And it's like, no, this is medicine. And so you being able to even share that, like some ladies may have never even like knew that, you know, knew that you could overdose on herbs and things like that. So we definitely need and want your knowledge um, in the chat. Um, Something that Lenitra said in the very beginning, um, talking about, and it's also in The Alchemist, talking about how like blessings that aren't used kind of turn into curses. And so for me as well, I already like I do a lot. I you know, have my responsibilities here at the temple as one of the temple keepers. And so I'm doing stuff, but there are things that are specifically within my gifthood that I have put on the back burner for a while. And it's time that I start like producing and start pushing it out because people really need that. So um, which is something that I've been told for a while. And Miana was always like, use your gifts, use your gifts, use your gifts. And so this week I definitely plan on utilizing my gifts and producing some stuff that can help other people. Alafia, alafia, alafia.
I go. Uh, I am choosing to just move forward with the plan that was already in place. I remember when this felt like it was so, no, it was a long time ago. But I remember when I was in America, they always used to say that you need to plan your work and work your plan. And so planning my work, man, listen, I can do that and be in my head about it, and write it down and all of this stuff. And then I now come up with a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. And I will be planning and planning and planning. It's like, what is going on? And so I can see and feel the ways in where I am transitioning from planning my work to working my plan. So I'm really looking forward to continuing in that, uh, I guess, in that process. Um, and then also using my my gifts. So I know that like in spirituality in the spirit world, like the big gifts, I don't want to necessarily say big, but I'll say that for lack of a better term. Is usually if people are able to connect with the dead, or if it's like one of the clairs, or they're clairvoyant or clairaudient, um, or they are able to like divine and tell you what's going to happen. None of them gifts are mine, and that is okay. Because the weight of what comes with those gifts, I'm all right. I'm not stressing over it. But I do know that one of my gifts is teaching. Um, and I feel like I teach a lot, but I have not been doing it in the way that I am supposed to. And so I'm going to go ahead and move forward with that. That make me a little nervous, But I feel like if it makes me nervous, then it must be good because then there's some stretching in there that I know is going to cause me to grow in other ways. Alafia, alafia, alafia.
I go. Oh, yeah, I think this really makes me want to focus more on cleansing during this time, especially when it comes to food. I think that me getting my body right is another part of getting my mind right. And in the reading, it said that we had to be healthy. We had to be clean or cleanse ourselves, our blood, our bodies. And so I need to really focus on that. And my mind has been telling me to do like more fasting, eat healthier. I eat pretty healthy, but again, like I eat sugar, I eat caffeine, like these things I need to work on to prepare myself to utilize my gifts more. And so that's one thing that I've been thinking that I need to really, really focus on is doing a lot of cleansing. And that's just like for the body and for the mind, like more meditation, uh, to do more praying, more just focusing, starting the day off with spirituality is something that I need to um, go to the next level on. And so those are the things that I'll be focusing on because that's what's going to allow me to utilize what's in me to be on the side of good, to fight battles. That's what I would say. I feel.
I go. I also wanted to mention when she said she was talking about the different gifts, like I don't feel like one gift is even bigger or better than another one because they're all really important and connected to each other because I'm watching this anime. I watch a lot of anime. I guess just trying to get away from this real world craziness. But it's called like Demon Slayer, and one of the Demon Slayers was like shunning the sword maker, saying that he can't even fight and things like that, and he's like lowly to him. But in reality, the Demon Slayer would be nobody without the sword that the sword maker made. He wouldn't even be able to fight. So it's like everybody is really needed in this battle, no matter how big or small they think that their gift is. So definitely us putting together whatever it is that we have is important. And back to you as well with the just even sharing your knowledge, sharing it with somebody and them doing it also puts it into action. And especially if it works, that's something that can go down for generations now, you know? So, but my problem is always let me see if it works for me first. Because I will always try and find scholarly references to make sure, like, and research, make sure it's not going to hurt nobody and things like that. But I always try it on myself as well too. So I think just getting the information out there, I'm gonna work on it. I feel.
I go. Isn't it interesting that the people who are the loudest and the most wrong, they have no references. They can't tell you where they heard about this thing, where they learned something, but they are going to spread it all over everywhere. They have no problem. The people who know stuff are the ones who like, well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. That blows my mind. So, yeah. Earlier when you were saying that like you knew about herbalism, but you weren't you were like really hesitating on whether or not you should say anything. And I'm like, yeah, no more hesitating because we do need each other and the information that you know, the knowledge that you have. we need that. It's needed in the community. And there are things that I know, the knowledge that I have, where I can see how it is needed, but we sitting here hesitating. That don't make not a bit of sense. So I encourage you, as I encourage myself, to go ahead and to share and to use that gift of knowledge and teaching. Alafia, alafia, alafia.
I go. Yeah, I think it's true. I think it's really important to be responsible with the knowledge that you have. So I do like your caution. It's easy to get out there though, but I want to become a healer. I don't really become a healer, but I want to you do those things and then you perfect it. And in that perfection of healing yourself or that success that you have and finding what works for you, you're able to share. And so I would encourage you, like, yeah, try it on yourself. Figure out what's inside of you that needs healing with herbs. Try it. Make that concoction, make that, mix, and then you can with confidence say, this works. These are the things that worked for me and I healed myself. You should try, X, Y, and Z. This would be good for you. And be cautious about X, Y, and Z because these side effects can happen. Like you can with confidence say those things. And that is a natural progression of, being a healer. Like for me, my dreams, like, okay, yeah, I need, I have this gift, but how do I help myself with it? How do I perfect understanding them? What messages are coming out? And in my quest for understanding that, then I can help others, right? Um, it's just in the many things, the many gifts that we have. I heal myself with this, and then I can extend it out. And that's what gives you the confidence and the qualification that you need to be, healer or to share that knowledge. So I feel like
I'll go. And it's also like when we start to have conversations, we will start to have realizations about things. And it's really amazing when you find people who are like in the same field as you. And it's like, man, I've been running into this issue. And then through that conversation, then they have suggestions and things like that. Or even while you're talking, you might like get the answer to what you're needing. So it's always important to like be in communication and sharing those different gifts and things like that. Ooh, wait. All right. So we have a few more minutes. Is there anything else that anyone wants to share or anything that you need some support on? Love you, love you, love you. Okay. This week, Friday is going to be new moon. So we will have new moon words of power Friday night. And you can look in the chat. We'll put the graphic in there and the Zoom link, as well as, of course, we'll be having lots of different videos and updates throughout the week. So yeah, just stay connected. If you run into any good resources like that, definitely put it in the chat, start conversations. Even if you're just bored, and you're trying not to scroll or do something like that, and you have that urge, go in the chat, and I'm sure that there is a sister in there who is feeling the same way, and might be able to give you some type of suggestion or, a conversation or something that's more nourishing. But this was a really good conversation. If you have any more insights on anything, definitely hit the chat. So until next week, everyone, be well.